gets really, really hard to keep going when you feel like you're constantly getting knocked down and you don't have any experience with, I know if I just keep going, I'm going to get there because I've gotten there so many other times in so many other areas, right? So as we're talking about this, and it may be new for some people, be careful that if your goal is to get from 0 to 100, that those first accountability measures look at the distance between 0 to 10.
Facts.
And make sure your accountability is, how do I get to 10?
What's happening, good people? Welcome to another episode of Dealing with Dre, man. You know what I'm saying? What's happening, my guy?
What's going on, Chief?
Chilling, man. How was your weekend?
It was good, man. It was good. Spent some time relaxing in Michigan with the big homie. I was hanging out with my guy Frank from high school. Shouts out to Frank Sawyer.
Got you. Big ups to Frank. And you say Michigan.
Yeah, man. He lives in Ann Arbor. Him and his wife and his 2 children. They moved up there. He took a significant role. He's like he's one of those 40 under 40 cats that's like really doing it.
Nice.
And so this was our first time coming up to see him there. We went to saw him in Ohio. We went to see him, in Ohio when he lived there. This is our first time getting to check out the crib, golf course community, all that kind of stuff. So it was dope. It was dope.
Man, for those who don't know, what is 40 under 40?
So 40 under 40 in different cities could mean different things. But for Indianapolis, it's a prestigious recognition put on by the Indianapolis Business Journal. They take people, and you can apply for 40 under 40. It's not a big secret thing. But there's an application process where you are either applying as a business professional or a community leader, and you just go on and talk about the things that you've done as a community leader, and then there's a panel that decides, do you make the list of 40 under 40 for that year?
Understood.
You can also be nominated by somebody else, so you don't have to put your own application out there. Somebody else can put one out for you.
Gotcha. Somebody approached me with that, but I didn't know the definition. I didn't know the meaning.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's a big recognition in the city. So here's the long and short of it. Indianapolis is a city that runs on list, right? So you get to a certain level, you're not going to get certain jobs or certain opportunities just because your resume looks good. You're going to get it because people of influence are saying your name to other people of influence based on the work you've done, based on the work you've put in. So one of the things the reason I say Indianapolis works on list is in the African-American community, it's important for us to know that we have to get better about bragging on ourselves. Because if people don't know what you're doing, those people of influence aren't describing what you're doing to other people. So a lot of times we end up frustrated because we've done the work.
Right.
But if nobody knows what you did, then opportunities will overlook you. Not because you're not qualified or capable, but nobody knows you're out there. So, something I've learned along the way.
Understood. No, I get that. It's kind of like you got to build your personal brand.
Very important. Very important. So 40 under 40 is a great way to do that. There's leadership cohorts that spin up every year, and graduates of those leadership cohorts go on to be alumnus. And some of those leadership cohorts are hundreds of years, or at least 100 years old. So when you start looking at how do things get done, it's because you've built a reputation of credibility. 1, by doing the work, but 2, by putting yourself in the right networks so that your reputation speaks before you even show up.
Gotcha. I got to get myself in the room.
I think you're doing all right. You got some rooms outside of Indianapolis that you're navigating quite well. So I think it's just a matter of time at this point.
Man, so I'm gonna bring it to the camera.
Yeah.
I'm proud of Mike this weekend. So Mike was out there with me. Not because he did anything that was out of character, but he really was intentional when he got in the room. And you know what I'm saying? He came back with a financial goal. And everything's not about finances to me, believe it or not. It's more so about freedom and peace. You know, I've said that before, and I stick to it just because if I'm at peace, I'm happy.
Yeah.
That means I'm living righteous. I'm doing right by my family, right by anybody around me, friends, coworkers, you know what I mean, and so forth, as a son and a father. But he came back with a goal. You know what I'm saying? His goal was hefty, man.
Yeah.
So I think that his goal was a 7-figure goal.
Okay.
Yeah, that excites me.
So hold on, time out. You can't take my phone, right, and put my numbers on blast when I sell my house and think we're gonna lead this conversation with a vague 7-figure goal. That's not gonna happen. What are we actually talking about?
Mike said, "Hey, when I do my first meal,
Okay.
I'm gonna pay for 3 of your mentors. Hey,
Okay.
and one of the mentorships I want to get into is 55,000.
Okay.
So I told him pause.
Yeah.
Nah. I said nah. I went in, built my Maybach.
Yeah.
And then I gave him a picture of the color painting scheme I wanted, sent it to him.
Yeah.
He didn't respond. I looked at this shit. Nigga was like, hey, this nigga didn't like this. And I was like, I gave my own mentorship.
Right. Don't decide my gift for me.
Yeah.
Right? No, don't do that.
But nah, I think that it was exciting for me. As I don't look at myself as his mentor, but I know that he's learning from me. It's exciting for me to understand that he now knows he could reach further in his bag.
Yeah.
He could go further with his capabilities.
Yeah.
So that's pretty dope.
So hold on, let me interrupt you. Can I interrupt you real quick?
Facts. Go ahead.
If you're not his mentor, based on conversations we've had, which of the three are you?
Oh, so right now, I was operating as a sponsor.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was operating as a sponsor.
Yeah.
And I think that this is the relationship that we have.
Yeah.
I'm a sponsor because I even told him as he was networking, I said, "Hey, bro, I'm glad you're making these relationships because now they watching my social media, and you want to work with them. So like, you better make sure that my shit's on fucking fire."
I love it.
Otherwise, you're not getting no job.
I love it.
You know what
I
I'm
love
saying?
it.
It's a friendly, serious, task driven, goal driven, and personal improvement, personal commitments that we got to make to each other because I got to execute in order for his content to look good as well too.
Bingo.
So no, that's good that you bring that up. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm identifying that with that more.
Yeah.
And he's here for that.
Yeah.
He was here more for technical skill, but obviously they're transferring more into sponsorship. You know,
Yeah.
because he's gonna work on his technical skills. I can't really tell him how to become a better cameraman. I think that I am the client that he's going to use to
Bingo.
showcase his skill.
Bingo. So
there's-
now you're getting into because you and I talk about so much off camera, right? Now you're getting into one of the other undertones of our conversations is a transactional relationship versus a strategic partnership.
Right.
This is very much a strategic partnership.
Yeah. And in the beginning, I would say it was transactional.
Yeah.
Favor for favor. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? But if he sucks, he's going to be transaction. We're going to transaction him with his papers out of here.
There you go. There you go. Hey, it sucks being the guy behind the camera, right?
You know what I'm saying? I said we're going to get him on mic. So during the week, this weekend, I had some podcasts and I missed some questions. So like, we're going to do this. We're going to do this part of the podcast. We're like, hey, Mike, what did I miss? And then Mike could do his behind the scenes. Like, well, you sucked here, so let me ask, and I'm gonna, get this question in. But I think it'll make it more complete too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
'Cause sometimes I get involved in a conversation that I may miss something, but we have some dope people, man. That being stated, though, it also holds me accountable to become a better podcaster, interviewer, whatever we want to call it. So now that we talk about accountability, because I didn't literally he didn't know this, but I had to call my partner and was like, yo, I missed this summer. I'm going to miss another summer because I'm about to, between now and December 31st, 2022, I think that my goal in general overall is about $3 million in revenue. E to E.
Yeah. Gross? Gross?
Gross. Yep. E to E. And I think it's possible. I think it's going to take a different level of commitment. As you said, I have several commitments that'll be challenging, and so that being stated, I needed to put that in the air. I like to put them in the air.
Yeah.
Before we come back, kind of like my Maybach. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We got to put that in the air.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So because if you see me in a Maybach, that means Mike do it better though.
There we go. We all eat, right?
I just want to know what kind of car his girl gonna get. Cause she ain't gonna be like, you ain't about to do that for no grown ass man.
And not
And I'm in a Chevy.
Yeah.
Oh no, Durango. Yeah. We're not gonna talk about what he counted with.
That whole
all that matters is Maybach.
There we go. Focus on the future. Focus on the future.
Yeah, man. I got the plus seats on my too, Jay. You know what I'm saying?
See what happened when you paying for it?
Yeah, Jay. Yeah, come on, man. We got the refrigerator so that we can keep the baby bottles cool in the back too. You know what I'm saying? I was visualizing. I was goal setting.
Yeah.
So I started visualizing.
I'm with you.
Just, you know what I mean? It's
I'm with
full
you.
circle.
Yeah, because there's some features that are really important. Like when you turn, it gotta hug you.
Yeah. That's what
Other
he like.
features are just, you know what I mean?
like
It's just
that.
kind of,
You know what I'm saying? I like the refrigerator for the baby bottles.
yeah.
All right, so man, let's talk about accountability, man.
Yeah, man.
So reaching back, man, for me, and accountability struck through track and field. You know what I'm saying? So like, I played other sports, but when I ran into track and field, I was really responsible for my endurance, my strength, my mindset, so many different things, and I was a knucklehead, and I love the results that track gave me.
Yeah.
And therefore, I became addicted to self improvement because you could see via my results what I was doing.
Yeah.
And so it was obvious, it was displayed for everybody watching to add everybody on the track team. And so I didn't run track to my sophomore year. So it was different.
Yeah.
But I liked it.
Yeah.
It was probably my ego too, but you know what I'm saying? So that came into play, man. And throughout my life, I've modeled so many things that came from track and field.
Sure.
And to this day, probably my ego probably leads the way. But you know, I wanted to know about, you know, your interactions with accountability. What's some of the best stories, mentors that you've had hold you accountable that people could benefit from as they're watching us and they're diving into investing in real estate, and you know they start to kind of reflect on themselves to be able to apply and, you know, hold themselves accountable through their journey to reach their financial goals.
Yeah. I think a couple of different experiences. I'll bullet point them and then pick one and we can go into it. So track and field for sure. That's probably the biggest milestone of my early childhood to high school graduation years, right? Was track. I then would say in college, it was my military experience because there was a lot of personal decisions I had to make that happen. I would say beyond that, it is my wife and children. And then beyond that, and again, these are just milestones that I can pick from and then we can go deeper into. From there, I would say it was my faith. My relationship to my faith is probably the biggest measure of accountability that I have because so many of my mentors came from that, like my adult mentors. So let's dig into the military one.
Hold on, Mike, which one you want to talk about?
I want to hear more so about the beginning, the track one.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Let's do that.
So track for me starts with my older brother. So I've got an older brother. I've got two older brothers, but Kenny Franklin is my older brother that ran track. Now, Kenny is every bit of 6'3", and growing up, he was the athlete, right? So long story short, we lived with my uncle for a period so we could go to better schools. So that means when I got home from school, nobody was at home with us. So if Kenny had practice, I had to go. So I'm at every practice for baseball, basketball, soccer, everything. By the time we get to and I'm not playing any of these sports, I'm just there. By the time he gets to high school, he's got awards and accolades upon accolades, and I'm just little bro. I get to high school, and by the time track season hits, I'm practicing with the varsity 400-meter core, but I'm running almost all freshman events, and I'm winning every time I step on the track. And that, like you said, becomes addictive because when I would win, I would go back and say, but I messed up here or I messed up there.
Facts.
Every race, I don't care what race it is. Like, I slowed down here. I should have sped. If I would have known that was going to work out this way, I would have gone harder here. You know what I mean? Or this handoff was messed up. So I'm immediately thinking about what's the next thing I'm going to focus on in the very next practice, just based on what went wrong in my race. I didn't know it at the time, but that was a level of personal accountability that was just innate in my nature, right? And it didn't show up as much in like academics. Like athletics was definitely my thing. But the other area that athletics drove in terms of track and field, when it relates to academics, I went to school every day so that I could go to track practice. Like
I'm with you. We in church, bro.
Right. It was like I don't really care about going to school because it just wasn't something I knew how to be good at yet. But if I don't go to school, I can't go to track practice.
Yeah.
I'm going to track practice every day, so I'm going to school every day. And then it got to a point where some years my coach would be like, hey, you got Saturday or you got practice on Sunday. Now, my coach lived maybe 3/4 of a mile from me. I'm going to run to his house, run practice, and then run back home. And it was just me. Nobody else was doing it, right? Because I was the only one there. I would take spring break trips with my coach and his son. Shouts out to Kyle Holmes, he's one of my best friends in the world. We would have practice every day on spring break. He found a high school that had a track and a baseball diamond every morning. It'd be 5 or 6 of us on vacation. But we were the only 2 that had to get up every day and go run. And I learned through that, by the time I got back, it was like I never missed a beat. Those little sacrifices taught me that there's always more to a really, really good athlete than what you see them do publicly. Because nobody else, like I'm in Gulf Shores, Alabama. I don't know anybody. And I remember like we started out running on the beach. People would come out on their balconies and watch us. Just like, what are they doing? But those people would never see me run in Indiana. But it taught me that level of discipline, even though it was enforced by my coach, I still had to show up and give my best effort. So by doing that, when it comes time to come back and run a race, like I'm ready for anybody. It doesn't matter because I showed up every day and gave it my all, right?
No doubt.
And so I think in terms of that accountability and where it carries over into my profession, my side hustles, and even like the real estate world, I've learned give it everything that you can, and you know that will eventually pay off. I don't think without some of those early experiences, I would have the fortitude to stick with it long enough to see it pay off.
I agree. What's really crazy is that I told Mike my track story. It wasn't about accountability, but it was in the sense of like how it came into fruition.
Yeah.
And he has a friend named Jesse Avant.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, man, Jesse lost me a ring. Tell Jesse that when you talk to Jesse, and I hold that dearly.
Hey.
And so
I understand.
Man, and we was out there, and the 4-way Northrop boys got us. But you know what I'm saying? But now, regardless of that, I talked to him about my path, and he was like, man, you should talk about that more.
Yeah.
You're really passionate about that.
Yeah.
And I failed to let him know because, bro, I went to school just to go run. That's really it.
Yeah.
And, I didn't know that about you, but like it's pretty dope that we have kind of like this. We had the same desire.
So, question: did you have a car growing up? Like high school when you were running track?
I had a car my junior and senior year.
So I didn't have a car.
Don't tell me you was jogging to school, bro.
Bro, I would run to school. If I didn't get a ride, I would run from school. I was Forrest Gump, bro. I would run to work. I would run home from work.
Bro, you making this sound like we was born in BC, bro.
So, but here's the thing, right? Like, and this is one of those, because I told you, like, part of my life I lived on 42nd and Post Road. The other part I lived in Geist. 42nd and Post Road, we walked everywhere.
Facts.
It wasn't no big deal.
Facts.
So by the time I get out to Geist, like, I remember staying after for sports, and the kids I would stay home or stay after school with, their parents would come pick them up. My mom ain't coming to pick me. She at work. I got to figure out how to get home. So if I didn't catch a ride, I wasn't finna just sit there. Like, backpack on. I'm finna run home. But I had been doing that since elementary school. So it wasn't nothing new to just, happen. But yeah, it was many a nights I'd be running down the street and people would be like my friends, it was a joke. They'd be like, people would tell me afterwards, like, does he want us to go back and get him? And my friends that really knew, they'd be like, nah, he's good.
So I was a little bit lazier than you. So Ben Davis is on 10th Street.
Yeah.
And we lived in Carriage House on 10th Street. So
I know exactly where that is. Don't tell me you lived in Carriage House. Bro.
I did. Yeah.
You childish.
Yeah. So what I would do is I would go to 10th Street in front of Fulton, buy the Taco Bell, and catch the bus down the street. That's what I would do. $1.25. And I would go home. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would do.
You super petty.
You know what I mean? So yeah. That's what I would do. Yep.
Okay.
Like in the mornings, the car broke down. My mama gone. I'm like, go catch the bus. And just, that's how I get down.
Hey, yeah. I mean, it took you longer to catch.
I'm sorry to let you down.
I'm just, you know what I mean? It took you longer to catch the bus than it would have to walk, though.
Probably so, bro. Because you had the 30-minute wait, the hour to hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, no doubt. Man,
I'm not judging you, though.
It's cool. I think you are. But no, man, as far as accountability, I feel that it's essential to have a mentor, to have what we call who you look up to, to not mimic, but to take away the things that they do that are essential for you to build in order to get to where you want to get to.
Yeah.
And I don't think that enough of us know how to the importance of accountability, one, and or how to obtain it. I think sports is the number one way to gain accountability just across the board, universally for kids.
Yeah.
But as adults, I think that we get so caught up in our lives and things of that nature, and we also struggle reflecting on ourselves and being honest. We want to believe that the pill is the true way to lose weight, as in contrast to drinking water, getting up, exercising, and eating right.
Yeah.
So I think that, for somebody doing real estate, there's no shortcut.
Yeah.
You definitely have to take the proper steps, the proper measures to build wealth. Now, can you flip a crib without good credit? Yes. But can you really build long-lasting generational wealth without good credit? No. And I think that obtaining accountability is one of the first things we have to do in anything that we do to really get to where we want to get to. Yeah. So we haven't talked about it, meaning me and Mike. But I'm gonna have to hold Mike accountable to my Maybach /$1 million, and then I'm gonna have to be accountable for my $3 million in revenue. Yeah. And we're gonna have to track that progress. Yeah. We're gonna have to do certain things. Shan's told me I'm about to release your podcast this week. So now it's just like, we all looked around each other and was like, well, we got a lot of work to do. Mike said we shooting tomorrow, like the whole thing. I was like, maybe not the whole thing, but we got some strategies and we're deploying. Yeah. We're deploying, and it's instantly like a sense of urgency. Yeah. It's a sense of like you don't have time.
Can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
You said something super important. In the context of accountability, when I transitioned from being somebody's athlete where they wrote out a lot of the work for me and I just had to deliver, one of the biggest struggles I had with accountability was my own expectations. What you just said that I don't even know you realize you put out there was you said we've got some strategies and we're working through them. One of the biggest lessons I learned about having accountability and having strategies that you're trying to work towards is incremental improvement, or in the IT world where I work, we call it iterations. So in terms of accountability, what I'm really getting at is I want people to be careful that you don't get super excited. Oh man, I ain't had no accountability and I ain't had no mentors. I'm gonna get some things I wanna be held accountable for. I'm gonna give them to a mentor and then I'm gonna go. What you wanna be careful of is making sure that you're iterating towards whatever those goals are, right? Because if you come up with this list of super lofty accountability expectations, really they're more like goals at that point, that you know you can't hit, you're gonna burn yourself out. You're gonna get overwhelmed. You're gonna get dismayed. You're gonna get discouraged.
Agreed.
And it's not because you can't achieve those things. It's because you're going from 0 to 100, right? Like
I tend to do that.
yeah, I mean, and we all do. But I think again, going back to the point I made earlier about the dexterity to keep going, it gets really, really hard to keep going when you feel like you're constantly getting knocked down and you don't have any experience with. I know if I just keep going, I'm going to get there because I've gotten there so many other times in so many other areas, right? So as we're talking about this, and it may be new for some people, be careful that if your goal is to get from 0 to 100, that those first accountability measures look at the distance between 0 to 10
Facts.
and make sure your accountability is how do I get to 10?
I like that.
Yeah, just something to be thinking about.
Nah, no doubt, no doubt. And those are the little things that we kind of got to measure. I even gave him a goal, like, hey, before December, we need to be focused on tax season.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna be focused on Black Friday strategies.
Yeah.
And that's not quite 10, but I brought it back at least to a quarter and halfway.
Whatever makes sense for the
Measurables.
individual.
Yeah, measurables to do that. So no, I think it's just important to like just again overall have that. Mike, what's that goal book that you gave us, bro? What was that called?
The high performance planner.
He gave everybody in the office a high performance planner.
I got one for you, Dre.
You know what I'm saying?
That's love. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that breaks down like even emotional stuff, mental stuff in there and stuff like that. So I think that's a great tool for starters. I think what we're doing is, I think he's gonna realize it's very aggressive.
I would expect nothing less from you.
Yeah, but I also need that check. Somebody to check me like he just did. Like, hey, I get that, but how are we gonna get to the 10-yard line?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? First of all, what play are we calling to get to the 15?
Yeah.
What play are we gonna have to call here? Because the same play to get from 0 to 10 is not gonna get us from 10 to 20.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's where you do a good job of helping me. Like where I jump ahead when we start talking about real estate is just trying to get to like even the call we had this past weekend, right? I called you yesterday freaking out about
No, you weren't freaking out. You was ready to smash somebody.
oh. I was gonna start making some phone calls.
You had a tude, bro.
I did, man. Look, my grandmama and my mama raised me to be to have a healthy level of skepticism when dealing with finances with people.
Okay.
And so my grandma's voice was in the back of my head saying they trying to get you. They own one. They own something funny. And so that's where that came from. But you on many occasions, not just that one, have helped me to not jump too far ahead because I was ready to jump to some conclusions, boy, and start calling news people and all kind of stuff. But for real, no, I think that's a great example of accountability in action, right? Because it wasn't necessarily, Andre, you said you were going to do this and you didn't, or Andre, you said you were going to do this, you did. What's the next step? It was, I'm calling about my own personal goals. You've got more insight on this than I do. Help me not self-sabotage, right? That's really what that call was about. Help me to not self-sabotage because I needed to hear a different perspective than the one I was playing off in my head because I had confirmation bias going on crazy. And I was going to convince myself they wanted the smoke.
Got you. Where you keep your pistol at, bro?
It's in the safe.
Okay, good. It stayed in the safe. That's good. Let's keep it there.
Now,
But
the
no,
12 gauge is under the bed, but the pistol is in the safe.
I think that's dope that you said that. I think I also, Mike has tried to warn me a couple times, and I still don't listen to Mike. I still do what I do.
Of course you do.
You know what I mean? So like, Mike was like, "Why do you always choose the hard route?" We was in the hotel. I was like, "It's okay, bro. Like, we're gonna get back on route. That's good. I got you." But no, I think that's good, and I think it's actually that's maturity that you displayed, and I probably did not display. But I think it's super dope that you actually call that accountability.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The reassurance to make sure that you're going to make the right and or best decision for you and your family, especially when investing into real estate. Probably the biggest purchase that you'll ever make. And I don't think that we look at it like that because we just kind of go through life without it.
Yeah.
But my goal is to apply that to everything I'm doing.
Yeah.
Even at home when you said your wife, things of that nature. Like that's something that I respect about you, and that people should know that you're doing, and that they should practice in their own way.
However, yeah, nah, like my wife is my biggest accountability partner. Like I told you, we came back from Michigan, and I've always loved to drive, probably because I didn't have a car for a long time. But I'll drive and I like taking long trips. I put on music I want to hear and I just vibe out and think. That's really my vacation time. Like that's when I reflect and game plan. So when we get in the car, she knows at some point I'm gonna start asking these big lofty questions that we gotta dig into. So we're talking about business opportunities and things that we want to get into, and a younger version of me would be so eager to please her that I would go off and do the stuff and then bring her back the results. Like, look, aren't you happy? And it's funny because I saw this come up on the Red Table Talk with Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, and she was talking about how they were on the segment where they were talking about the house they had built, and she ended up telling him, "You built this house for you, basically."
Ooh.
I could relate to that because there are so many times where I would go off and do stuff, and I'm thinking, she gonna love it. I killed it. I crushed it. I blah 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 blah, and she would be happy for me because I needed that.
Damn.
But what I learned, and she hasn't necessarily said this, but I've learned over time in other interactions that we've had, and she's helped me to see it from other perspectives. Great, Andre, you did that thing, but you were gone 5 nights out of 7.
I'm guilty.
So there's accountability there that I've had to learn, not only to be at home more, but also to include her as soon as I get an idea, because she's going to help me to align it to, but here's what your life looks like. So it's never a no. She'll say, okay, that's cool. How you gonna do that when Miles has flag football practice? How you gonna do that when Ryan has softball games? How you gonna do that when Charlie wants to do piano lessons, right? How are you gonna do that when Charlie wants to do singing lessons? It helps me to keep my main priorities. And so even on the business end, and even with all the desires to build wealth, if I'm left to my own devices, in my mind, I'm already 15 years behind. Right? And what she helps me to do is realize you can't make up 15 years in a year. It's just not gonna happen. And even if you could, you would sacrifice your family in the process. And that's not what you want. So that first layer of accountability, man, I gotta give props to my wife.
There it is, man. Man, that's a load that you just put on us, man. But no, it's real, and I appreciate you sharing again your personal experiences. And I feel that, be honest with you, like we're doing this because the community lacks these conversations, as we say. You know what I mean? Our goal is to get to the next crib for you, but we understand that through there, life happens, you know what I mean, family, and so much more. So I think that this still brings value to our progress and our progression to get there. Yeah. So, man, I thank you for coming through,
Hold on now. So we got to do a real estate update.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So,
man.
So I think since the time we started doing this, I was selling a house. I sold a house. We moved out into an apartment. I think we need to do a conversation about that. There's strategy behind that I think people should consider.
No doubt.
We are in the underwriting process now towards close.
Okay.
All goes well, I will close not this Friday, but next Friday.
Okay.
So when it comes time to accountability, I should get a question of what happened. And I should either be able to tell you,
Facts.
I closed and here's the keys,
so I had left it alone.
Nah, that ain't how we move it all.
My bad.
Yeah, we're gonna do it.
My apologies.
Yeah, we good. So yeah.
So how many bedrooms?
This is 4 bedrooms, just under 5,000 square feet, 1.3 acres. Yeah.
And as you said in the past, you're gonna build onto it.
Yeah, so we're building 2 apartments. We're gonna build an apartment for my mom, and we're gonna build an apartment for my in-laws. So
got you.
Once we close, we'll be meeting with the the architecture firm to actually design out what that's going to look like and get blueprints. We've already talked to one construction company I think we're going to go with. And get that work started.
How'd you find them?
So crazy enough, we were when we were trying to figure out what we were going to do in terms of our next home purchase, we considered building because everything's so expensive right now. I was like, well, maybe we could get an opportunity there. So we met with a local guy who does construction, new home construction, and walked through his properties, asked him who he worked with in terms of an architect. He gave us the guy's number. We had a couple of conversations with him. Really liked his approach, really liked the way he does his pricing. And so we're looking to just go through the process with him because it's been a solid relationship.
Understood. Now, I would still suggest that you get a second quote on that.
Yeah, no, who you got? Send me somebody.
I got a couple people I might send your way.
Okay.
But I think that getting 2 or 3 quotes just to make sure that you're getting the best deal, you know what I mean? You're comparing apples to apples.
Yeah.
May assist you in, making sure that you're getting the best price too.
Yeah.
Because the price of wood has went down a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm hearing.
Yeah. So material still a little bit high, but the price of wood. And if you're building, wood is one of your biggest costs. So you want to be able to leverage that. Now, why maybe this Friday versus the next Friday? What's happening?
No. The date is September 17th.
Gotcha.
That's when we close.
Gotcha.
But like I know, in underwriting, they come back and, hey, I need one of these, and hey, give me that, and I need a new bank statement. So
you're just preparing for the BS.
I've done it enough times to know just because you got a close date don't mean you're going to close on it.
Now, let's go back to then go forward.
Yeah.
You talked about living in an apartment, and then you suggested that.
Yeah.
I don't like moving, so why do you suggest that?
I suggest it because moving in and of itself is a very stressful process, right? And looking for a home separately from that is just as stressful, if not more. When you have to make a significant financial decision like that, you want to limit the amount of emotional tugs you have on you. Mm-hmm. So when I've seen people write it into their deal, which I'm not saying is wrong, but people will write it into their deal that I can't close on the new house until I sell my old house, right? In the wrong market, that can put you at a disadvantage because the buyer might say, well, I don't want to deal with you, especially in the market we've been in, right? A buyer is going to get multiple offers. They're going to review that and say, well, this person doesn't have any impediments to closing. You do. I don't necessarily want to sell to you if I don't have to.
I would say that this is our perspective and opinion based. I would say that this is the best time to do that because the market is so hot and you're getting, for every house, you're getting 20 buyers on average. Therefore, I feel like you have...
As the seller, yes. I'm talking about as a buyer.
Understood.
As the person buying.
As a buyer, that's not favorable. I agree with you.
That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
So by going into an apartment, I don't have the same level of urgency because I got somewhere to live, worst case scenario. It puts you in a better negotiating position
and you're
as
reducing
the buyer.
Stress. Understood.
But as the seller, no, I want as many offers as I can get.
Yeah. That's why I was trying to understand the perspective.
Yeah.
You corrected me. Got you. Okay. Now, the moving process. Tell us about that.
So
to the apartment. Moving to the apartment.
Yeah. So it was funny. My wife is a much more organizer between the two of us. I'm much more of a just get it all out of here and get it into where it got to go. She let that lead. And she probably kicks herself every day now because now she can't find nothing. What happened towards the end of the move, as we were working through it, I was kind of thinking like we should hire somebody and just knock it out. And my wife, she does a good job of balancing me out because I'll spend money on everything. And she's like, no, we can do it. Let's just take our time and do it. When we got down to that last week, boy, she hit me like, hey.
Where them people at? You was talking about...
Can you call somebody up? Like, it's the week of. I can't do it now. So blood, sweat, and tears, and shouts out to her and my in-laws, man, because I was working. I'm working my regular job. So all I could do is when I get off work, jump over there and take care of stuff. But all day they were packing this house up. So that was the lesson learned is we might have saved some money, but we sure didn't save ourselves no headaches. We sure didn't. So I think the last minute, we got the guy that was doing some dumping work for us to actually put some stuff on his trailer since he was dumping anyway and move it. He was kind enough to do that. We paid him, of course, but He was like, man, don't ever ask me to do this again. He's like, I dump, I don't move. And so now I was talking to Jennifer yesterday. She was like, yeah, we about 2 weeks out, right? We need to start calling movers. I'm like, okay, all right, long as we're on the
That's
same page.
hilarious. Yeah, we learned our lesson.
Yeah, so we're gonna pay that. We're gonna pay that
Gotcha.
every time.
Got you. Well, my bad. You know what I'm saying?
It's accountability, brother.
But no, I think that that's positive. You know what I'm saying? Because the construction of your house is gonna draw appreciation too.
Bingo.
So we definitely want to see what's evaluated today, what you closed at.
Oh yeah.
And then what it'll be.
I got you, brother. So I just redid the calculations because I was wrong. I think last time I told you I was at 123 a square foot. I'm at 117.9.
Got you.
So yeah, I'm super happy about those numbers.
That's dope. And do you know? Well, you haven't got it drawn up. You haven't got the drawing yet.
No, for the new
They'll
schematic.
let you know how much square footage
You're adding. Right. Yeah. No, so that's gonna be crazy, right? Like everything I'm seeing is selling for north of 125, right? I'm seeing stuff as crazy as like 170 a square foot. I'm like, y'all can have all that action. So to be at 117 and add square footage, I'm geeked.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. So again, people, thank you for tapping into another episode of First Generation Wealth Builders. Also, make sure to tell a friend to like, subscribe, and share this video. To add, don't forget about the mentorship calls. Every Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., we're going to be talking about wholesales, flips, deal analysis, everything real estate. My lender's even going to be there on Wednesdays to tap in with you and basically help you acquire your first deal. Last but not least, we got my guy Dre that's gonna be working the book club.
Yes, sir.
Yes. That's exciting. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be tapping into that too. So let's get it in, man. You can't find a mentor for cheaper than $47 to add. It's free for the first week. So tap in, check it out, give it a try, man. If it's for you, stick it out with us, and we'll be linking up every morning. So till then, I'll see you on the other side.